We're live, Coach.
Right, I see it says we're live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Huddle. It's me, Coach Muddle, live from South Florida with, of course, Nevada Nick and Stizz back in Delco. And I just got to start off the morning with my favorite Stizz story of Thursday night. You know, I'm up. Stop at our good friends Phil and Jim's for a cheesesteak, and then I head over to Tom and Jerry's to see Stizz and his cornhole tournament. I call it the Cornhole Junkies. You know, I get there a little early.
And the story ends.
And the moral of the story is, Coach should get better internet. Coach, you're choppy. You're about as choppy as the perfect storm, man.
Yeah.
You're going in and out. You might want to bust out, Coach, and go back in. But we're also, for Coach and his struggles right now, we're going to start a GoFundMe for Coach to get better internet. Now,
oh man, I don't know what's going on here. Sign says 6 o'clock here.
Yeah, it says. Yeah,
I don't understand.
Clock too. It was daylight savings time last week, Coach.
Is that what it was? It was a couple weeks ago, actually.
You want to tell your Stizz story?
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, you know, on the deck over there at Tom and Jerry's, and all of a sudden the limousine rolls up, and I'm like, man, who's this idiot showing up in a limo? And out pops the tracksuit. And it's Stizz with his own bags for he's got to have his own bags for cornhole. He can't use anybody else. He's got his own bags.
Right.
Got his tracksuit on, ready to go. I mean, you know, what a way to roll up in there, Stizz. It was an impressive intro.
That's how I do it, Coach. They thought the president was coming down McDade Boulevard, and they said, "Man, when did the president start wearing Adidas sweatsuits?" That's how I do it, man. Listen, I was champ. Last Thursday, I figured I'd come in style, spend that extra money, and here I came. Glad to see you, Coach, on Thursday. Glad to hang out.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me up. I had a blast. And by the way, if you notice, everyone, the name change, it doesn't say Coach Muddle anymore. Okay, I want everybody to just take a good look at that because it is now it's official. Okay, Coach Muddle is now an NFL owner. Okay, I am an owner. The Green Bay Packers put stock up for sale. I was lucky enough to get 3 whole shares, so I don't even know if that gets me a piece of lace off a shoe or a couple of blades of grass on the stadium. But you know what? I have 3 whole shares of stock in the Green Bay Packers now, okay?
Yep.
So I just want everybody to know that I am an NFL owner, okay? Thank you very much.
I just lost.
You're just –
You're
just jealous.
My opinion of the NFL is hit the shits, basically.
Well, this is where we have an issue because now that Coach became part owner of the Green Bay Packers, Nick, I think we better tear our Super Bowl tickets up.
Yeah,
that real estate just went down real fast.
Well, I think Coach is going to try to trade Aaron Rodgers to the Giants. That's what I think the whole clue is.
Yeah.
Look, I already reached out to Aaron. I DM'd him. I said, look, I'm now a new owner of the Packers. Like to go out, maybe have dinner on him, of course. And,
all right.
Yeah, on him, of course.
So, look, to me, we got good with starting off with the Patriots on Thursday night wins.
Certainly.
To me, look, 25-0 win. I mean, defense, to me, right now looks like they got the best defense in football. They really do. I mean, they put a slacking on the Browns, too, last week. I mean, just, obviously they start 2-4 They're 5-0. Belichick's known for how his teams improve in November and December. And I just thought it was funny. I said on this show when they were 4-4, you know Belichick, how crazy he is. And he said, we're getting better every week. And usually at Belichick, when he had a 4-4 team, would be going crazy. I think he knew he had a young team with a lot of new pieces, but they were starting to gel. And look, there's a lot of similarities between this team and the team 20 years ago that won the Super Bowl in the GOAT's first year starting. It was his second year in the NFL, first year starting with Tom Brady. But, man, one thing I thought was interesting. So if you go with the first 11 starts of Brady's career and Mac Jones' career, Brady's 8-3. Mac Jones is 7-4. Completion percentage, Brady was 66. Mac Jones was 70. Touchdowns to interception, Brady was 16-9. Mac Jones 14-8. Now, passing yards per game, Mac's about 235. Brady was 205. I'll take that in the difference in the league, obviously.
Right, I was going to say, yeah.
Than there was then. But passer rating, Mac Jones 94.7, Brady 91.6. Like I said, I allude a little bit of that. Obviously, Mac Jones is playing a easier time with the penalties of hitting the quarterback. Obviously they used to let defenders get away with a lot more back then, but still very similar. So with the AFC to me being where, I mean, the Titans are a 1 seed. We'll talk about that later. But where I think it's wide open, and what I would say, well, right now, I think we all agree the Bills would be on paper the best team in the AFC. But, man, I think the Patriots are right there, especially at 7-4. And they actually have a great opportunity because they play the Bills twice in the next 5 weeks. They have the Titans at home next week, so you could take a shot at them. And then they got the Bills on the road. So what I ask you guys is, and I'll give my answer as well, do the Patriots have a shot at the AFC East? Do the Patriots have a shot at the Super Bowl? I'll start with Coach. Go ahead, Coach.
Absolutely. What's up, Mike?
What's up,
Absolutely. Mike? I'm, as we always say, we're not in the doubting Tom Brady business. Right. We're also in the not doubting Bill Belichick business as well, right. Because, last year everyone can say what they want. Oh, it was all Tom, but everybody forgets half the defense opted out last year, and really had a mismatch, a mush of patchwork on offense as well. Right. So now he put all those pieces. They went out, they spent money, and it took some games to get them all that stuff to gel together. And now I think it's the New England train. And I said this with Stizz last week. I think that the New England Patriots are the number 1 team in the AFC right now. Like they're playing the best football, and they're knocking off these top teams. Buffalo, and now like you said, Tennessee coming in. So we'll see.
Well, what's crazy is a team that was 2-4. Now obviously wins 5 straight, and they really, in a sense, control their own destiny. Because with a game against the Titans next week, you can beat them. If you win that game, you're 8-4. They're 7-3. Whatever happens in today's game against the Texans, but too, with the Titans, they're missing Derrick Henry. I think the Patriots are going to win that game at home next week. I really do. The big one is going to be, obviously, can they beat the Bills? I'm going to wait and see on that. I think they're actually going to split. I think they'll take the one at home, lose the one on the road. But, look, I think as wide open as it is, the Patriots are right there. I think the Bills are a little bit more balanced, and you got Josh Allen over Mac Jones. But I do trust Bill Belichick and the playoffs more than I do Sean McDermott. So it's going to be interesting. Stizz, what do you got? What do you think?
Belichick has got this team rolling, man. You made the point 2-4 to start and 5 in a row. They're 5-0 on the road.
Right.
Okay. Pretty impressive. Pretty impressive to be that good on the road, because we all know, home field, maybe not so much this year, but home field was always a huge factor in the NFL. The thing is, Mac Jones is managing the game.
Right.
He's not making a lot of mistakes. He's reliant. Damian Harris, now Ramondre Stevenson, the rookie, are really lighting it up on the ground. But the huge thing, and you mentioned it when you first started this, is their defense.
Right.
Right? Their defense, 6 games this year, held opponents 13 or under points. Listen, you're going to get the job done if you hold your opponents to 13 or under. That's for sure.
Right.
So I think their defense is the main culprit, should I say, of their winning success. We've seen a shutout Thursday night. Okay, against a bad, Atlanta team that's missing a lot of weapons, but still, they're on the road and they got the job done. And for a team to get shut out, that's really inexcusable. I mean, you should get something. Mike, I like that. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be unbelievable.
There'd be a lot to talk about in the news.
And how crazy would it be if Brady got one and then Belichick came back and gets the next one?
Be great.
I mean, it would be wild, and basically cement both of them. I mean, I think they're cemented anyway, obviously, but it cements both of them that obviously you have the 2 greatest of all time, and they just went and proved it. I think what Bill's doing now, this quick, to lose a guy like Brady and now be in the position already that they're a team really trending in the right direction that is going to be a force to reckon with here in the next few years. They're young, and Mac Jones is just going to get better. They've handled him great. I mean, it sure looks like the 49ers made a mistake. Now, what I want to ask you guys, too, some people, obviously, you would have called the Patriots a sleeper team, okay? You can't anymore. Obviously, everybody's on the Patriots now. I mean, basically the pundits out there, we all been talking about the Patriots for weeks now. I want to get a sleeper team from each conference from you guys, 4 or more losses. I'll give you mine. I think there's 2 in each conference, but it comes down to you obviously got to take one. To me, the 2 sleeper teams in the AFC are the Colts and the Browns. I'm going to go with the Colts. The Browns, I just think with all the injuries and all, if they can get healthy, but I really think the Colts, man, if they can just get in the playoffs, and the last seed, the 7th seed of the AFC is 5-4. Colts are 5-5. They do have a tough schedule, though. They got to play the Bills and the Bucs the next 2 weeks, so they're going to need to win some tough games. But I do think the Colts are the sleeper of the AFC. And like I said, you got to count the Browns too. This is the team we all thought could go to the Super Bowl. And then in the NFC, to me, it's between the Vikings and the Niners. Just because, I mean, look, the Niners early on, everybody thought could make some noise. And you saw what they did to the Rams last week. And I do like the Vikings offense with the run game and Cousins' defense playing a little bit better. But I'm going to actually say the Niners. I think they might have found what their identity should be last week against the Rams, obviously, where they just basically out-physicaled that finesse team of the Rams and just went at them. So I'm going to go Niners and Colts. Stizz, who do you got as your sleeper teams?
Well, the NFC, I'll be honest with you, I really don't have one.
Okay.
I don't, I mean, obviously Minnesota and San Fran may be the best bets there, like you talked about.
I agree, though, but the top 5 are going to – I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't think many of them teams with 4 more losses in the NFC anyway
I agree.
really have a shot to kind of make some noise. However, the AFC, I was kind of torn between 2 teams. My first team was Cincinnati. Coming off a bye, if they get off, on a hot streak, maybe they can make some noise in that division. I mean, Pittsburgh really doesn't show me much. Baltimore seems to be trending a little backwards. But the team I'm going to go with, and it's crazy to call these guys a sleeper, but I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Okay.
Listen, they have 4 losses. They came in last week and just demolished the Raiders. It's a Kansas City team that we saw last year, right? We talked about them, how they couldn't stop nobody. They were giving up a lot of points. They couldn't win games. Too much pressure on Patrick Mahomes. Well, guess what? Last week, they looked like the Kansas City Chiefs.
Right.
5 touchdown Pat Mahomes, and they're throwing the ball and running the ball all over the place. Now, if they could continue that success, okay, great. I think they can make some noise in the AFC, but we'll see what happens.
Joe says 5 losses after today as they play his Cowboys.
Yeah, Dallas Cowboys, sure. I mean, Joe, it's going to be a great game, man. I think it's a shootout and a high-scoring game. So,
Joe, I actually agree with Joe. I think everybody's taking that Chiefs game last week. Oh, they're back. And maybe they are, but I still think there's holes. I think the Cowboys are a better team than the Chiefs. Definitely more balanced than the Chiefs. I think the Cowboys are going to find a way to win today. I really do. I hate saying that. Every part of my being hates saying the Cowboys are going to win. But yeah, what's going on, Mama Moon?
What's up, Mama Moon?
Big one for the Raiders today. They got to get a W against those Bengals.
Yeah,
ain't gonna happen. Look at that, Stizz. Sammy the Cush. There he is. What's going on, Sam?
We'll see what happens.
He says Zeke goes big. I know Stizz wouldn't mind that.
Root for you, baby.
Yeah, Stizz has got him in his fantasy. No, Coach, do you have any sleeper teams?
No, probably the Chargers is my team in the AFC team. They're still little rocky, but I think they right the ship a little bit and get back on track.
Yeah, their biggest problem is if the Chargers could find a way to stop the run. You know what I mean? It's just teams are just running at them. And
they're terrible.
Right. I mean, the run defense is just pathetic. You saw it with the Eagles. I mean, they were a much better team than the Eagles. I mean, Herbert was unbelievable, but because the Eagles could run the ball, they kept that game really close. I mean, I believe Stizz bet the Chargers in that game as well. So did I. Should have never been that close. It really shouldn't have.
No.
So, okay. Now, let's get into the Eagles today. We'll talk about obviously the Eagles-Saints game today. I mean, look, the Eagles here with winning 2 out of 3 and, with that top-heavy NFC, they've actually put themselves back where they're in a playoff, have an actual shot at the playoffs here.
Which is crazy to say.
Right. And we're not for once, we're finally not talking about the NFC East, where they're terrible and they can win the NFC East. Not happening. Cowboys are taking the NFC East, but they have a chance here at a 6 or a 7 seed. And look, getting a win today, the Saints are one of the teams ahead of them. So getting that win would be huge. So it's a big game it's a must-win for the Eagles too, Mama Moon, but it's a must-win for the Raiders for sure.
Absolutely it is.
Especially Raiders coming in on a short week next week at Dallas on a Thanksgiving game at 4:00 in the afternoon, which is insane when you think about it, Coach. These guys playing that quick, together. To me, it's insanity. But back to the Eagles.
Because now, wait a second. I'm sorry. Before we go, isn't the Raiders game a 1:00 game in Vegas? So that's like a 10 a.m. game this morning, isn't it?
I think it's a 4:00 game. I don't think they'd have a 1:00 game. I'll have to check. But with the Eagles, it's a huge game for them, obviously. And look, I think what's great for the Eagles, I think they finally at least have said, look, this is our identity. And I'll give Siranni
it took a long time.
Yeah, okay, it's 4:00. I'll give him credit in the sense that they found an identity with the Eagles and said, look, which we've been clamoring for how long. They're running the football, which is, you see it now. I was at the point I didn't think Hurts could be a franchise QB, and I think the jury's still out. But the game I saw him play last week, where they actually supported him a little, Devontae Smith starting to become a player. I like where they're headed, and I got to see what they do the rest of the year for Hurts. My question is, what does Hurts need to show you for you to bring him back next year? And do you give Sirianni year 2? I'll start with Stizz. Go ahead, Stizz.
I mean, they are playing well. That they are getting it, like we talked about all this time, to run the ball. I think Sirianni's back next year if they continue to do what they're doing right now. It's going to be curious. I don't know. I'm torn of what's going to happen in today's game with Miles Sanders back. Sirianni said, Sanders was going to be the main guy today, which, with Boston Scott and Jordan Howard, they both played well these last few games. So how do you take them out of the picture?
Right.
How do you – and we've seen with Miles Sanders being your all-star guy at the beginning of the year when he was healthy, they didn't give him the ball.
Right.
So what's going to change now? Is it because they've been running so well the last couple of weeks, but you can't take Scott and Jordan Howard out of the equation, can you?
Right.
I don't see it.
Right. So, I mean, look, to me, they got to stick with the run game, obviously.
Sure.
I mean, because it's the offensive line, which is the core of that offense. And because if you can't run the ball, it's going to trickle down to Jalen Hurts, in my opinion. Coach.
And I'm sorry, before Coach goes on, the main issue is, Nick, is New Orleans' run defense is badass, man.
Yeah.
They got one of the best run defenses in the league.
Right.
Them and probably Tampa Bay, and I'm not sure there's a couple other ones that are pretty stout. So
right.
they're going to have a hard time, I think, running the ball today, which puts it in Jalen Hurts' hands,
right?
Which we see creates errors. So it might be a long one today for your boys.
I'll give my pick later. It's one of my picks of my 5 picks, so I'll give it later. But I trust the Saints defense more than the Eagles defense. I'll say that.
Oh,
Coach, go ahead. What does Jalen Hurts need to show you? And
I think he showed me enough. Jalen Hurts has
okay.
showed me plenty. He comes back.
Okay.
Absolutely, he comes back. But Sirianni still has work to do. He still has work to do to earn it back. Okay, but let me tell you, you got to go back. I go back to what the Giants did against that big running defense of the Saints. Is you remember Saquon Barkley had 160 yards out of the backfield catching the ball. It's the little dink and dunks where New Orleans is not very good at. So if Philadelphia can get those backs out of the backfield and do those little dinks and dunks, then I think they'll have success today. But if they keep trying to run that football, I think you're right. They're going to go in 3rd and long and put Jalen Hurts in some bad spots.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, like I said, Hurts. I need to see more. I disagree with you on that. I like the way he's trying to.
Hey, Mike, you can turn your captions off. It's on your end, not ours.
Mike, that would be on yours. Bro. Yeah, I don't know why. I've seen that happen too, and it is annoying because it's behind. But yeah, I think it's something a button you hit because I had the same problem before. But with Hurts, I need to see steady improvement, and which he's showing. So if I see improvement from now to the end of the year, I'm going to give him a shot. But I think the Eagles know too. There's not many years you have 3 first-round picks and not many years, which we're also going to talk about later, where you have the possibility of Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, and Deshaun Watson be available. So I think that's part of what goes against Hurts as well, is this rush that you're not going to have the quarterback market. Come on, guys. We know a year where a Brady or one of these top-tier quarterbacks is very rare. Where you get 3 guys at that level in one season is unheard of.
Yeah.
So I think that's what Hurts is up against a little bit. And like I said, Sirianni, we'll see. I mean, there's just questions there for me, in regards to him. I think you might be better off with somebody else heading your team. I don't know if and we'll see how he ends the year. Now, let's go to the bold prediction of the week. I'll give out mine first, and then we'll go to Stizz. We'll let Coach go last, because I think he's trying to think of one in his head as we speak. So with my bold prediction, I'm going to go. Look, I'm going to put the Titans on upset alert today. You guys might think I'm nuts, might think I need a drug test, but I have a feeling the Titans 8-2, that's going to be a much closer game than you think. I think they're on upset alert. I think the Texans got a chance to win. I could be crazy, but this is also a Titans team that lost to the Jets. And it's a different team now that Henry's not on there. And you got Tyrod Taylor back with the Texans and a bye. So I'm going to say that game's going to be a lot closer than people think, with what you may say is the best team in the NFL versus which I think a lot of people think is the worst team in the NFL. I know the Lions are 0-8, but in my opinion, I don't know if you guys agree, I would say the Lions are a better team than the Texans, even though the Lions don't have a win yet.
Yeah, I'll go with that.
All right. Stizz, your bold prediction.
Well, it's always good when you're on the same side as Nevada Nick, the money man, because that's my exact bold prediction. I thought about this all week. We talked about the Titans last week, how that line was so funny, and we love the Saints. We were all over them. They came backdoor covered. Saints should have won the game. This week, I'm going with the Texans as well. They're a big underdog, 10.5 points. Listen, I think this is a letdown game, like Nevada Nick says. Tennessee beats Buffalo. They beat the Rams. They beat Kansas City. They beat the Colts twice. Morning, Angela.
What's up, Angela?
So I just think these teams play down to their competition. And I think my bold prediction is that Houston, as a 10.5-point underdog, they lose by 5 or less. And I'll be honest with you, you might as well drug test me too.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have a chance of beating this Tennessee team because I think Tennessee's looking past them.
Okay.
But I think they keep it real close today.
Okay. All right. Now, I want to talk about this. I had this a little later.
Whoa. What, you just skip right over me?
Coach.
Right
over
me.
Had one.
Man,
Coach, what's your bold prediction?
You can't skip the owner.
What am I, invisible to you? What am I, invisible?
You know what, Coach? So my bold prediction was going to be you didn't have a bold prediction, but that's not really a bold prediction. So ahead, Coach.
That's the lock. That's the lock of the week.
The lock of the week.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah, good, Coach. Sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, well, listen, I think that the 49ers emptied the tank against the Rams. And I have them on upset alert against the Jags.
Okay.
So the Jaguars are starting to play pretty well. I mean,
I agree.
Win at Buffalo. So, I mean, you need to be careful. I think it should be.
That's a hell of a point, Joe. NFL owners should not be offering opinions on games. You're right.
That's right, Joe. Good point.
Yeah, great point, Joe.
Collusion going on here.
Yeah.
Well,
honestly, Joe.
Yeah, but I'm not talking about the team that I own. I'm not talking about the team that I own. Okay.
I'm sure Coach is going to get thrown into the NFL lawsuit with Gruden somehow. We may release some emails. That's all I'm going to say. Me and Stizz may release some emails.
Oh yeah.
But I do want to talk about Michael Johnson brought this up. Talking Cleveland is, do we re-sign Baker or go after Wilson or Rodgers in free agent, lack of talent and draft? Well, because this is one of my questions to you guys earlier, so I'm going to push it up. Is Lamar Jackson and Baker Mayfield, both those guys haven't signed deals. Would you pay both of them? Especially, let's start with Baker. Like, I'm not paying Baker Mayfield. This is a guy who was number one pick overall, let's not forget, who's going to be looking for, I don't know, 35, 40 million. I'm not paying Baker. And I would do, Michael, what you mentioned. That's exactly what I'm doing. Because is there a better spot to go for Aaron Rodgers than the Browns? You put him on that team, I don't care what they do. With that offensive line, with that set of playmakers, I think it's a Super Bowl team and might be the favorite, but if not, definitely top 3 Super Bowl favorite. And you'll have another draft too. So maybe they go draft a receiver for him as a weapon on the outside, even though they do have Landry. But they're solid in the offensive line. The defense, maybe you could use a piece or two, but Rodgers takes that team to a whole other stratosphere. You've seen games this year, especially that Kansas City game, where that's the problem with Baker. When in the fourth quarter, you need him to make a play. A lot like I used to say about Jimmy G, Baker seems like he can't make the play. He needs where everything's going right, where your rushing game's working, where the play action's going, and you're playing for him ahead. Baker just doesn't seem like that guy that, when you need him to make plays against quality teams in the fourth quarter, that he can do it. So with Baker, I wouldn't pay him big money. If I could get one of the other big guys, I would make the move. If not, I would franchise him. Because obviously if we're not going to replace him, you gotta keep him. But yeah, I would go after, and I would be fine with any 3 of them, Wilson, Rodgers, or Watson. I would prefer Rodgers, obviously, just because I think it's going to give you a 2 or 3 year window to win it all. But I would not re-sign Baker. Coach, what would you do?
I agree. I'm not re-signing Baker. I thought he was terrible. I didn't think the guy coming out in the draft to begin with. So I wasn't a big fan of Baker. So I'm not. And, the thing is, though, you're going to have to give up assets for both Wilson and the guy at Houston, as I can't
Deshaun Watson.
think of his name. Agent. So, yes, thank you. So Aaron's going to be a free agent because he restructured his deal. So he's going to be on the open market, going to go wherever he wants to. And I think that is a perfect fit for him. I think that the Browns are a Super Bowl team with Aaron Rodgers at the helm.
Yeah, and I think Watson, I think it's known. I think he will be playing for the is he with Adam Sandler? I think Watson's going to Miami. I think it's just the worst kept secret. I just think that's where he wants to go. I think Miami doesn't want to. I think that's
but you know, and I just because of listening to New York, apparently Watson and James Harden they have the same agent or same company. Okay. So I heard New York is a spot because of that. Okay. That's what I'm saying. You know, because he's been seen.
That's a good look right there.
Yeah, great insight. Stizz, what do you got? Would you re-sign Baker?
No, absolutely not. I'm on your guys' train. I'm in with Mike. I think Rodgers is the best bet here. You got that dual threat running game, and I think it leaves some pressure off of Rodgers. So I think you have to put all your marbles in and dump Baker, go after one of these three guys, preferably Rodgers.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Now the other one, and we'll try to do it quick. Lamar Jackson. Would you pay him a Mahomes, Dak Prescott type of contract? Because I'm not there yet. I just think I know he's a playmaker. You're going to win games with him. But to me, if you're getting a franchise QB, it's to compete every year for a Super Bowl. And I know you could say, well, look, they're winning games but to me, there's a ceiling with them. And as a quarterback, you need to be able to throw the ball successfully. And he just hasn't been able to do that consistently. So I wouldn't sign Lamar to an extension. I would franchise him. I just think there's too many question marks. Stizz, would you?
I'm sorry. Joe's the best.
I know.
I'll tell you.
Now he can't pay his Wi-Fi bill. Yeah, that's what it looks like, Joe. But that's coach for you, and that's comment of the year right now. That's comment of the year right now.
That's definitely.
Stizz, would you sign Lamar?
Man, it's a big money. I mean, he's a centerpiece of this franchise.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm with you that he's not where you want him to be exactly yet, but he's on the road there.
Okay.
It's funny. Lamar, quick excerpt I seen. Lamar's questionable for today with a stomach illness. He had some stomach issues the last couple weeks. Non-COVID related, but he basically quoted that he should be fine. He's been taking his Flintstone vitamins since he was a little kid, so his immune system is 100%. So he should be good to go. Right. So we'll see what happens.
I can't wait till Coach comes back in so I can put up Joe's comment. That's great, man. That's cool. Comment of the year by far.
now you're seeing the real stars of the show right here.
Right now, yeah. So this is what you're paying to see. So now, Stizz, I see what you're saying, Lamar. You're really in a spot. But, man, I would really, especially with Baker too, I wouldn't just throw the bank at him. I would say, look, I don't feel you fall within the top 5. And Lamar, no matter what, he's not a top 5 quarterback. He's just not. He's a playmaker. There's no doubt about it. But you see the inconsistencies with him in regards to throwing the ball. Put him at first and shit his pants twice in the game. There we go.
I'll take the over on that.
Yeah. So will I. Yeah, he did it the one time. You can tell I can replace Coach.
Mike, we got to have you on.
I don't doubt that.
We might have to get you in.
Yeah. I don't doubt that, Mike, that you can replace him in his sleep.
We might have to get you in the studio here.
Yeah. Now, Stizz, the Titans, okay? They're the number 1 seed in the AFC. Coach, I want you to see this because this was the comment of the year in my book.
Comment of the year right here.
Coach spent all that money buying shares of the Packers and now can't pay his Wi-Fi bill.
That's right.
That's great.
The problem is here in Florida is all this concrete, and I can't steal the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
You up?
Yeah,
I do.
Yep. Yeah. That's great.
Coach,
great
you had the problem in Delaware too, and so now you're in Florida. And you still have problems. I don't know. I think it might be your Wi-Fi, your computer, or just the person who's handling the computer. So the Titans are the 1 seed.
It's the person using it. It's the person. It's all on me. It is.
Right.
Yes.
They call that, Nick, they call it in the tech world operator error.
Michael John said he could replace you in his sleep, and I wouldn't doubt it. Now,
listen, Mike, you got the number and hit the back of the line. There's plenty of people want to replace me.
All right, yeah. So the Titans are the number one seed in the
AFC. Wait a second. Time.
My God. See, and this is what he does. He just interrupts the show. We're probably better when he's frozen.
See, hey, that's right. But
and you're breaking up
because I dipped out. I dipped out with the whole Lamar thing. But look, you pay Dak for doing nothing. You're going to have to pay Lamar.
Well, Dak's not doing nothing. There's a difference there.
But wait a second. No, but wait a second. How far has Dak hasn't gone anywhere in the playoffs, but yet Lamar takes you in the playoffs?
Yeah. Well, I don't think Dak has
Lamar's done more, so you got to pay him. If you pay Dak, you got to pay him.
I think Dak's finally got, except for his rookie year, I don't think he had the supporting cast, especially defensively. He's got it now. I don't have an issue. I mean, I wouldn't have paid Dak $40 million either. He got overpaid, but that's what happens when you're with the Cowboys. You get overpaid. That's what Jerry Jones does. Now on to the Titans, number one seed in the AFC. I know my opinion. I don't see them anyway getting to the Super Bowl. I just don't see it. I don't think they're a fugazi, but I just think with the Henry injury, I think they kind of got in a spot where you saw them beat the Chiefs, Bills, Colts, and Rams, but I felt they were good opponents for the Titans. One, they could out-physical them, but two, those teams don't run the ball except for the Colts. And Frank Reich in that game went through 52 times. They ran it 20. I think if the Colts run the ball more, the Colts win that game. But to me, the Colts, they struggle against teams that can run the ball. That's what you need to do against the Titans. You got to run the ball against the Titans. That's how you beat them. That's why I think the Patriots will beat them next week. But yeah, so I don't see any way the Titans, who are the number one seed, can make the Super Bowl. Do you see it, Coach?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I think they're one and done.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Stizz, do you think there's any way Titans get to the Super Bowl?
Get to the Super Bowl, no. But your division is pretty much handed to them.
Right.
They got an easy second half of the season. They got the Texans twice. They got the Jacksonville Jaguars. They got the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are really playing bad. And they got the Dolphins. So they got an easy road to this division. Getting to the Super Bowl is going to be another hill to climb, especially without a running game like you alluded to.
Right. Okay. Now, I know Joe's has an answer for this one. But, you've seen the Rams the last 2 weeks just not look good. And to me, especially against the Titans, where I felt the Titans, the Niners, who I think we all thought, I thought the Rams would at least win the game. I knew it was going to be tougher than they thought because they've struggled with the Niners. But the Niners went in, and Jimmy G didn't have to do anything. They just ran the ball right down their throat, out-physicaled them, defensively shut down that Rams offense. What's wrong with the Rams, in your guys' opinion? And do you think Stafford now – to me, now there's some question marks on Stafford. Can Stafford win you that big game? I know Joe was saying that, and look, Stafford hasn't looked good the last 2 weeks. My opinion, obviously, I think the Rams' issue is I don't like the offensive line. They can't run the ball. And I do now question Matt Stafford. I really do. And I do wonder what he can do in big games. Stizz, what do you think's wrong with the Rams?
As good as we talk about their defense, I think their defense is a little bit of an issue here.
Right.
The three losses they have, they gave up 37 points, 31 points, 28 points. You can't do that if you expect to win games. I know the Rams can put up some points with that offense they have, but Stafford, like you said, hasn't looked good the last 2 games. Only 1 touchdown, threw a couple picks in them 2 games. They got to get the ship right. They got a bye week to straighten stuff out this week. So hopefully they come out strong after the bye week and, they start mowing teams over.
Yeah. And Michael, to that point about Beckham fitting right in, they did what everybody thought. I think McVay couldn't help himself. He wanted to say, hey, look what I can do with this piece. And, Stafford throws up that ball to Beckham and it's an interception. And they're doing exactly what happened in Cleveland, where you're trying to force the ball to them and make these things where they get back on the ball, and it's not good. Let the offense do what the offense does and let the play come to you. Don't, try to force things. Coach, What do you think about the Rams? What's the issues? And can Matt Stafford win a big game?
No.
Okay.
No, I didn't. I thought it was, and you heard me say it. I thought it was a bad deal with them getting Stafford. I mean, it's going to go get one quarterback. So been Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan's a better quarterback than Matthew Stafford, and you see that because in the big games, back to the Detroit Lions, Matthew Stafford.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. McVay is overrated. I think McVay is part of the problem. You're right, Joe, because he's one of those guys that, you know what, I called this play, and if it doesn't work, he gets frustrated and keeps trying to force feed it. And that's part of the problem as well.
He gets too cute too, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
Right.
He gets too cute. Sometimes just, go with what works. Now, guys, today, Kyler Murray questionable. Obviously, tough divisional road game against the Seahawks. But if he's not 100%, do you play him today? Because you have a bye next week. Obviously, you're 8-2. The Rams are 7-3, but you beat them head-to-head too, so you have the tiebreaker. So even if you lose today, you're still going to be a half a game up on the Rams because I believe the Rams have a bye this week.
Yes.
So, and you beat them head-to-head. Now, you'll have to play them again and win, but still, I'm not risking my franchise to play 1 week against Seattle, and then if he really tweaks that ankle and he's out for the year, your season's done. Yeah. Stizz, if Kyler isn't 100%, would you start him today?
No, I would not. And it doesn't look like he's going to play. It looks like Colt McCoy will be in for his third straight game.
Wow.
And you're missing your biggest weapon in DeAndre Hopkins once again today.
Yeah.
DeAndre Hopkins already ruled out. So, no, I would go into the bye. I would rest him up, give him, another 2 weeks, obviously, this week and next week to rest that ankle up and get ready for week 12 or week 13, rather.
Okay. Coach, would you play Kyler if he's not 100%?
Absolutely not.
And don't forget, Seattle got shut out last week, so they didn't
look.
Russell Wilson didn't look too good last week. So even with Colt McCoy back there behind the center,
and Colt beat him last year
on the road.
Right?
You say, Coach?
Colt McCoy beat them in Seattle last year with the Giants.
Remember? Yeah, and that big upset. Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, but you saw with Colt McCoy, a perfect example. Game 1, he looks great. They win. Game 2 against the Panthers, and that's usually the story of backup quarterbacks. You know what I mean? They just can't be consistent. But, yeah, he did not look great. Now, guys, earlier we talked about if you would re-sign Lamar, if you would re-sign Baker. Now, let's talk about the big three quarterbacks that could be out there, obviously. When you talk Wilson, Rodgers, and Watson. Okay, we'll start with Watson. Do they stay or do they go? And if they go, where do they go? Okay, I'll start. Watson, I think's gone, and I think it's to the Dolphins. What do you think, Coach?
I think it's to New York, one of the New York teams.
Okay. Well, I don't think the Jets, though, because you just got Zach Wilson.
It doesn't matter. Yeah, but they're going crazy over there. Mike White, I mean, they're having a ton of issues over there. So I don't know that they're really sold with that. I mean, you have an opportunity to get a guy who can already play. I mean,
right.
I got to make the move.
Okay.
You mean Joe Flacco isn't your answer for moving forward?
No, it's Mike Effin White.
Yeah,
Mike Effin White. That's right. All the talks beginning of the year was Miami. So I think that's his end result is going to Miami.
Okay. Now, Aaron Rodgers, stay or go. I'll start. I think he's going to go. I really do. Even if they win a Super Bowl, I think he's gone. And I just think somehow, because they didn't talk about Cleveland, but I think Cleveland's going to try to make something happen and bring him to Cleveland. I mean, because the talk was Denver, the Raiders a little bit. I don't think they're going to put him in the NFC. I think the Packers are going to try to ship him to the AFC, and I think it's going to be the Browns. What do you think, Coach?
Again, I think he's going to New York, one of the New York teams.
Okay. Stizz, what do you got?
Maybe the Jets will sign Rodgers and Watson.
Yeah, there you go. Get both.
They'll unload everything. I I'm going San Fran. You know, those were talks earlier in the year as well.
Wow.
I'm going with the 49ers, although
like
the talks of the Browns, I mean, really would be, in my opinion, a better landing spot for Rodgers than San Fran. But I think San Fran, and he definitely goes. I mean, he's had it with this management system, the coaches, everything there. So everyone's going to New York.
Yeah. Okay, now Russell Wilson, and to me, this is the most intriguing one because not many people were talking about that. And like the Packers, obviously with Rodgers, they're going to try to keep Rodgers because they saw what happened with Love. But I think it's too far gone. Yeah. Wilson, I think that's the biggest. I think he's going to stay, but I think it would be interesting if he's out there too. But I think ultimately, I think they'll pick him over Pete. But you never know. Coach, what do you got? Going to New York?
Absolutely, it's going to New York. Absolutely. Somebody's going. One of the three guys. I've got a 1-3 shot. Okay.
All right. So the Jets and the Giants are going to have 3 starting franchise QBs. Stizz, what do you got?
I think he stays as well. I think he makes it happen. I think he mended some issues with that team management. So I think he stays there. I think he finishes his career in Seattle.
Yeah, you know what, Joe? I don't know if they could take the cap wise if they could do it. I don't know.
But they're not trading in their division. There's no way in hell they're trading in their division.
Right. Although Michael Johnson brings up a great one because I do think Carolina is going to be out there for a quarterback. So, Mike.
I don't know. Cam's playing himself back into a job, man.
You're nuts.
Okay.
Yeah, he ain't going. Now, real quick, guys, because obviously. Real quick, best team in the NFL. I'll start with myself. Not AFC, NFC. Who do you got as the best team in the NFL right now? I'm going to go Packers. Who do you got, Coach?
New England.
New England. Wow, Stizz.
Joe's going to love me. I'm going with the 7-2 Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
I just think they're well rounded. I mean, they got everything going for them, and their defense, which was their juggernaut last year, well, not juggernaut, kryptonite. Right. They're actually playing a lot better this year. So they really have an all-around team.
Okay.
I think they're the best so far.
All right. Stizz, let's get with your fantasy advice. What are your starts of the week?
Okay. Start of the week. Let's stay with the Dallas Cowboys playing the Kansas City Chiefs.
Angela needs a drug test.
HR called, Angela. HR called. Please report to the office.
All right, go ahead,
so I'm going to stick with the Dallas Cowboys. Amari Cooper is placed on the COVID-19 list.
Okay.
He's going to miss at least 2 games since he got tested positive late in the week. So I'm going Michael Gallup versus Kansas City. I think he's going to take over, some of the missing balls from Amari Cooper. We got a high-scoring game, I would think, in my opinion, today with Kansas City. Should be a lot of points on the board. KC's middle of the pack, defending the wide receivers, giving up 34.2 points per game. I think Gallup should have a nice game today alongside of CeeDee Lamb. Second start of the week, I'm going Nick Chubb versus the Detroit Lions. He's back. Another COVID list, prodigal, unfortunately. After a big big Pats blowout last week for Cleveland, I think Nick Chubb comes ready to go. At least 100 rushing yards in 3 of the last 4 games. And boy, what a great spot he's got this week. Get a Lions defense who ranks 25th against the rush, giving up 28.8 points a game. Wow. Good spot for him to come through, and I think they run wild and maybe sprinkle in a little Dearness Johnson today as well. Okay, sits of the week. We just talked about him. Russell Wilson versus Arizona. He didn't look right. He didn't look right after a 4-game absence last week. I mean, the team got shut out. 161 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 picks last week at Green Bay. Laid a big fat donut. I don't know. I don't know if his fingers still bothered him. I don't like this DK Metcalf controversial shit that he's doing. It's bad for the team. You get shut out and you got this dope getting kicked out of the game and then going back in the huddle.
Yeah.
Causing issues. You don't want your star receiver doing that, especially when you get blanked on the road. Arizona defense allowing the third fewest points to quarterbacks this season. So I think Russell Wilson's going to have a tough time today.
He struggled last week. You could see it with the throwing the ball.
Correct. So, yeah, I'm sitting Russell Wilson this week. I want to see what he has. If he looks better, I'll reconfigure my status next week, but we'll go from there.
Any waiver wire late in the season, or do you have more sit? I'm sorry.
I got one more sit, actually.
Sorry about that.
To get the waivers. No problem at all. My second sit, this guy actually started off strong beginning of the season. He was Dak's go-to guy, Dalton Schultz, tight end for Dallas. Okay. He's kind of dropped off. Right. He started the year off great. He was getting 6 receptions a game, 8 targets a game. Since then, really taking a nosedive. 2.5 receptions, 26 yards per game in the last 3, which ain't going to get it done. Now, Amari Cooper's out, like I said, so that kind of opens things up. But I'll tell you, when Amari Cooper comes back, I think Dalton Schultz is going to be an afterthought.
Okay.
And like I mentioned before, it should be a shootout. But listen, Dallas scored 43 points last week, okay? Dalton Schultz's stats last week was 1 catch for 14 yards in a 43-point blowout. That kind of tells you what you need to know. They're not going to him anymore. Waiver wires. Listen, guys, this guy should have been on your bench for the last few weeks. And we're talking about Mr. Algiers Jameel Dillon Jr. We know him as A.J. Dillon, running back for Green Bay Packers. 4 double-digit rush attempts, 4 games this year with Aaron Jones playing. He's been in the mix. I mean, we talked about him, I think, earlier in the year.
Yeah.
That, this is like a 1-2 punch.
I'd have went with him. I know Stizz wanted you. If Aaron Jones would have left in free agency, you loved A.J. Dillon.
Oh, I loved A.J. Dillon. I said it at the beginning of the year. And we know that, Aaron Jones has been having problems. He's been having problems staying healthy. He's going to miss the next 2 weeks at least with an MCL sprain.
Okay.
After the 2 weeks, they go on bye in week 13. So, man, you got to chalk this guy up. A.J. Dillon's averaging 20 fantasy points the last 2 weeks. Get this guy in your lineup. Get him off your waiver wires if he's still available. Which, if any of you guys in your fantasy leagues have any brains whatsoever, they would have had him on their bench already. Right. But who knows? You never know. Last guy I'm going to talk about is actually a tight end for the team that Coach talked about earlier, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Dan Arnold is the safest play amongst tight ends and maybe actually in the league so far this year. He's a safe floor. He's averaging 8 targets per game, 65 yards in the last 3 weeks, okay? He's been their leading receiver. They don't have much. Besides James Robinson on the ground, they really don't have much to go to. Somehow Jacksonville has been hanging in games. As bad as they are, they've been hanging in. And they're hanging in through Dan Arnold, through their leading receiver. He don't have any touchdowns for the year, unfortunately, so if he could sneak in a touchdown, listen, he's getting you 10 to 12 fantasy points every week. He's a safe floor. Get him in your lineup if you need a tight end, and that's what I got.
Okay. Now, Mike, I agree with this, too. It is wide open. It's as wide open as I remember it being, too, in the NFL. There's so many different scenarios I think that could happen. It's insane. But I agree, it is wide open. It might be the best playoffs in a long time. I agree. Now we'll get into my picks. I'm going to start off out in Buffalo, rematch of last year in the playoffs. A game the Colts should have won the playoffs, except for Frank Reich going for it on 4th. I think they missed an extra point too, or went for a 2-point conversion. But so some coaching decisions from Frank Reich. Colts maybe should have won that game outright. Like the Colts today, +7. Take the hook too. I think this game's a lot closer than it be. I could see the Colts winning this game outright. I think you're going to see a lot of the run game. I see a low-scoring, close game. It's going to be who doesn't make the mistake late, which worries me with Wentz. But I'm going to go Colts +7. Then I'm going to Philadelphia today. I like the Saints +3. I just trust the Saints defense more than I trust the Eagles defense. I think both teams are going to struggle to score. I see a very low-scoring game. I like the Saints +3. Obviously 5-4. Big game for both teams because obviously they're fighting for a playoff position. It's going to help the other team out immensely to beat, whoever wins this game. I just think this is too many points. What's that?
No Kamara for 2 straight as well.
No Kamara too. But like I said, I think the Saints offense, you saw what they did a little bit on that Titans defense last week. And I don't think the Eagles defense is they're not, I don't know. They're similar, but with the Titans. But I think the Saints will be able to they got a good offensive line. It's good. I just think the Saints defense is going to be what wins the game. Then I'm going to go to Minnesota. A lot of the sharps like Minnesota today. I'm going to look at it as Minnesota's had a 7-point lead in every game this season, guys, which is nuts. And they're 4-5. A team who has had a touchdown lead or more in every game is only 4-5. You're under 500.
Wow.
I just think I like the Packers. I'm going to take Aaron. I think they're the best team in the NFL. I think they're definitely balance-wise. They run the football. They throw. I think Aaron bounces back this week. Packers defense looks good, and they're still going to get Jair Alexander later in the year, Zadarius Smith later in the year. You know, I love the Packers. Give me the Packers -1. Then I'm going to take the Seahawks -2.5. I'm going with this because I think Kyler's not going to play. This is going to be a big game for Seattle. They don't have many playoff hopes, but, you know, if they want any shot, they got to win today. I think Russ is really good coming off losses. I think they bounce back and they win by more than a field goal today. I'll take the Seahawks -2.5. And then I'm going to give you a teaser. I know Joe ain't going to like this, but I think the Ravens do find a way to win the game today against the Bears. I'll take Ravens +1. Love Cowboys at 8.5. I think the Cowboys, I like them straight too. I think the Cowboys are going to win that game outright. Really like the Cowboys today. Now we will go to locks of the week. I'll start with mine. My lock of the week is going to be the Colts. Just like the Colts +7. Coach, what's your lock of the week?
What? What do you mean?
What's your lock of the week? What's your lock of the week?
What's my lock of the week? Yeah, I gave you my lock of the week. Put it up on the screen.
What, you don't remember?
No, I don't remember.
Oh my God! Yeah, there it is, Coach. There it is for you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, I like the Panthers today. I just like getting Nick fired up.
No, you really didn't know what it was. You didn't know what it was. He didn't know. That's great. He forgot what he told me.
I forgot what he told me.
You did. Yes. That's why you're sitting there. You also would have said it. All right, and now Stizz, we got to get Stizz's lock and Stizz's prop bet. Which one do you want to do first, Stizz?
I'll do the lock. I'll follow the train.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm sticking with my best bet. Houston, Texas +10.5. You know, I said they keep it close. I really think they do. They cover the spread. And got to get off the schneid for my last week Ram lock of the week. Wasn't too good.
Right. Now, Stizz, your prop bet of the week.
My prop bet of the week, I'm going with Jamar Chase over 74.5 receiving yards. Listen, if it wasn't for Cooper Kupp's unbelievable season so far, Jamar Chase would be the number 1 receiver in the league. He is the number 1 rookie. He beat the record already. The guy's been balling out. They're coming off a bye week. It's going to be a tough game against the Raiders. It's going to be a good game, but I mean, Jamar Chase is the go-to guy there.
Well, and he's due to me. He's had 2 not so. You know what I mean? I think he's due for another big game.
Yeah, he's Joe Burrow's go-to guy, man.
Right.
They're happy as hell that they drafted him.
And Stizz, too, a huge game for them today. You're playing a team you're fighting a playoff spot for. I really think, the loser of this game might be in trouble. You're both 5-4. So that's a big game today in Vegas. Now, what else do I want to – okay, I want to put up what Joe said. Joe, I could see it. The big thing's going to be – because Justin Fields has been playing – Justin Fields is one guy, even more than Mac Jones. I've seen him really ascend. Obviously, Mac Jones, you might be considered better, but I think Mac Jones also is in a better situation, obviously, in New England. I don't know what Justin Fields would do in New England with that coaching staff and that team. He looks better than Mac Jones looks, So that's something you got to put in the
factor. You think this depends on Lamar Jackson's status? I mean, if Lamar Jackson plays, you still like the Bears outright?
No. Yeah. I think he does. I think, if Lamar plays, which I think he's going to, he practiced Friday. I just think they find a way. But look, it could happen. It's only a 5-point spread. All right, Coach, got 30 seconds if you want to take us out.
All right, thanks, everyone. Make sure we appreciate you showing us some love. Share it with your friends. Ring the bell. Subscribe to YouTube. Be safe. Enjoy the games, and we'll see you tomorrow night for the big giant game. All right, have fun.
Raiders.